Well, I think after regards for the first 3 days when Trump came to the office, he shows how fast his actions, the number of executive orders that he signed. Some of them are internal issues, but most of them, I think, it concern the whole world. When it comes to the Middle East, he mentioned more than one time, even in his speech today addressed to the International Economic Forum in Davos in Switzerland, he mentioned more than one time that he succeed to stop the war immediately in Gaza and to allow the change of prisoner and detained between Israel and Hamas. Also, he mentioned about the second step, which is more important also to the states, is the war between Russia and Ukraine. I think he is too fast, moving in 3 days as if he is in office for 4 years. I assume that his influence to the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has achieved some goals. But unfortunately, on the other hand, if the war is stopped even for some time with the negotiation in Hamas, we don't feel much better what's happening in West Bank, as if the Israeli power got some kind of rest from what's happening in Gaza, and then they do exactly the same. They have done it for 15 months in Gaza with the people in West Bank. I think his administration is hopefully has to be more realistic and do, I think, more influence and pressure to Benjamin Netanyahu, because still what's happening in West Bank is concern to the Middle East, to the whole world.
Concern. Now, Trump also during his speech at the Davos forum also called for ending the Russia-Ukraine war, a day after he threatened Russia with more sanctions if the Russian president refuses to negotiate. Now, how do you think Trump will navigate this issue after he pledged he would end the war as soon as possible?
I think he mentioned more than one time that America has no interest to continue on that war. And I think the other thing also, if the war, he addressed it to the Putin that if it will not stop the war, a more sanction will happen. For more than 2.5 years, there is huge amount of sanctions have taken place against Russia. And even so, still Russia continuously showing some victory on the land. And even the sanction commercial, it will never put Putin down. Still somehow the gas and the petrol from Russia goes somewhere else. I mean, the sanction, it doesn't show that it affects really what's happening in Russia and with Putin. And I think the administration of Mr. Trump knows that. So if he would like to show another stress on sanction, that's just something for the international world to be worried about it. But I think somehow he has another face to deal with the President Trump, Biden, I mean, President of Russia, I mean, Putin, in order to stop the war for the welfare of America and Russia as well. And Europe actually is suffering a lot from what's happening 2.5 years ago. And I think what Trump's supposed to do, most of the countries in NATO are expecting that some kind of pressure will happen to stop this war.
Actually, the whole world are really suffering and reeling from this war since 2022. Now, Trump also and explicitly said that they have congressional majority. Now, he meant definitely the Republicans. Now, from your point of view, how do you think this would increase or help Trump pass a more legal challenging decisions as he did before?
Well, some of his statement and his wishes to apply certain regulation, it's like a kind of declaration, but I think most of it has to go back to a kind of institutions, judge, Congress. So, like, for instance, the immigration part of it, also the people that came from all over the world, overseas, to spend some time and deliver kids and babies in order to gain the U.S. national. In that regard, also, I think something on the Constitution said every single person will be born in the United States, no matter his father or mother are Americans or not. So I think there is some obstacles will face him. The easy thing is if, according to the rules, he can go through, he will never be waiting for. If something will strike with the rules and the regulation and the, what's on the rules, I think he has to wait some time and maybe he will not be able to achieve it as well.
Trump has called on the NATO countries to increase the defense spendings from 2% to 5% of their GDP. Now, how would that reflect on the U.S. relations with the NATO, given that Trump has already said before or threatened before that he would withdraw from the alliance?
I think with his first period, more than 4 years ago, he was talking seriously to the European leaders that 1% from the GDP is not enough. It was increased to 2%. Now he's asking them to go for 5%. For the last 1.5 years, Europe have suffered a lot from supporting the war, supporting Ukraine financially and with weapons as well. The supply of gas from Russia to Europe has stopped for some reasons. I mean, most of the European countries, the NATO, are suffering. So a matter of 5%, I think from Putin's opinion, he would like to put more pressure to the European leaders in order that they have to rely on America to buy the gas and the petrol products from the United States. So it's a kind of pressure, but I don't think the 5% can be capable or on the hand of Europe leaders for that time. Most probably they will allow, they will agree with what the pressure coming from the President Trump to buy gas and petrol and other products from USA.
The Washington Post reports that President Trump is preparing to deploy 10,000 troops to the southern border to assist Border Patrol in blocking asylum access and enforcing new immigration policies. The deployment includes at least 1,500 active duty soldiers joining the 2,500 troops already present. Border agents are directed to use emergency powers to prevent migrants from entering, citing potential health risks. The plan includes a significant increase in detention capacity, with additional facilities being built and a focus on deportation via air. The military will help build barriers and boost surveillance efforts with the goal of achieving 100% operational control of the border. The administration is also halting legal guidance programs for detained immigrants. And back to you, Dr. Maharem, and let me welcome you again and resuming our discussion. President Trump is reportedly considering the deployment of up to 10,000 troops to the U.S.-Mexico borders. Now, how do you assess the potential impact of such a move on both the U.S. immigration policy and the U.S. relations with its neighbors, particularly Mexico and Canada?
President Trump, in order to achieve his goal, we will make America great again. One of his main tasks is to re-control the borders. According to him, and I think that's fact as well, during Biden administration, they were not taking care much for the borders, and during this period, I think more than 2 million have flowed to America. So many states, the mayors and the governor of those states are suffering from the huge amount of people they already in town, and they don't have the capacity or the capability to accommodate them, or to give them jobs. So some of them are the streets of New York, some of them are the streets of California, the big cities. So it was really shown for the last 4 years that huge amount of immigrants have come to the country so easily. Now it is his responsibility as chief officer, executive. It is not the responsibility of the governor of the states. It is federal responsibility. That means if other states are not agree with what he's supposed to do, I think they have to listen and by law or by enforce. I think the 1,500 troops he would like to send them is to rebuild strong fence immediately, but the responsibility is only to secure and to stop the flowing of the immigrants coming futurely from now onwards. But in order to apply returning them back home, it is not in the responsibility of these kind of soldiers. It is the responsibility of the other department in the Secretary of States, I think. But it will take some time because it needs a lot of manpower and financial support. I was told that last year they have shortage in that regard, 230 million. And in order to have the facility to accommodate these people, there is 2 million are already having orders to be out of the states. It will take some time and it will take a lot of arrangement, but I think he's very serious. He would like to take an action in that regard. From the other point, some business people, they are talking that will not be easy because some of those workers, either they are legal or illegal, are working in different difficult positions. They're working in agriculture and the very hard positions and the kind of work. None of the Americans are easily to be ready to get some kind of job like that. So maybe from the other side, economy will be affected somehow. And usually the rate of those people are usually less than the American rate. Sometime in this kind of jobs, you will not find American people to fill it. So it has two kind of side look at it.
But here, the Justice Department has just ordered investigations into state and local officials who defy federal immigration enforcement. So what do you think the consequences of such directives could be, and does it cope with the orders of the US president, and how will that reflect on the local governments and sanctuary policies?
Well, systematically, they were not going around on the street to catch people or just walking around asking them, are they legal or not? There is a big list of thousands of them already. They have deportation order years ago. The previous administration will not be able to send them back home for different reasons. One of them is lack of finance and lack of personnel as well. I think what Trump's administration is trying to do to facilitate both manpower as personnel, to increase more troops on the border, plus I think some budget has to be agreed on that regard. But I think most of the states have to listen to what Trump, because the responsibility of borders is the responsibility of executive responsibility, which is the president.
Mm-hmm. Trump here, or the Trump administration, is using emergency public health laws to restrict asylum access, citing potential health risks. Definitely they gave no details about that. But how do you assess the legal and humanitarian implications of these measures?
Well, I think as a new administration coming, he has to look previously of other minus points, unsuccessful or failure from the previous administration. So that issue, I think it's one of the very important. Previously, nobody have taken responsibility to look at. So I agree that Trump administration is clever enough to raise this kind of issue. I think it's going to be on the long term, long run, on the benefit of the American citizen.
Mm-hmm. Now, the planned closure of asylum access at the southern borders, how do you think this will impact global perception of U.S. commitment to refugee protection? When we're speaking here about the United States, the protector of the whole world system.
Well, around the world globally, it is known America as the land of how do you call it? The dream. Every person around the world have to achieve the American dream. But American dream has faced, unfortunately, some kind of misuse to the facilities. To be honest, the American administration usually they have given most of the people they travel to the country, they came officially to the country, but under some circumstances, the facilities have been damaged and misused. So such a person like Trump is a businessman, and always figures and dollars are accounting with him. So he's so curious about nobody to misuse, to misplace any place in the United States, personally or government.
Now, the U.S. has expanded its deportation policies and is pushing for quicker removals of undocumented immigrants. What do you think are the long-term effects of this policy on U.S. society and its legal system?
That's a good question. I think there is different steps like what happened with Gaza, step 1, 2, 3. This immigration reform, it will take, I think, more than what we are expecting. Maybe on the middle of the way, either he has to come back to different regulation or he has to stop in certain point, because there is a reflection will happen from the borders, from the neighbor countries in South America, especially with Mexico and other Guatemala. All those countries have representative and good number of people are living in the states, and there is a big amount of trade economy concern. It will take some time either to be stopped or to be reformed in another way.
Okay. So how do you think President Trump's rhetoric about an invasion and the use of military forces at the border will affect the perception of the U.S. in the international community, particularly in regions like the Latin America, for instance?
Well, the military force is just to secure the borders, but I don't think that it's not going to be any more something to make other neighbor of America are fear of. It is just to secure the borders in order that not everybody can escape and come to the country.
Do you believe that President Trump's approach to immigration would face significant legal challenges? We already saw some of the legal challenges, particularly regarding the expanded removal policies. What do you think?
I think what he's trying to do, according to him, is to secure the country and to defend the economy, and not to give a chance to other countries to misuse the facilities of American citizens and people. But from the other side, I think he will face some kind of obstacles from the legal part of it, or even on the long term from the good relation with good countries are neighborhood, and they have good relation with them economically. And not everybody coming to immigrant is a criminal. Criminal already are registered as a criminal. Those are the people has to start with them to deport them. But so many good numbers of the people, they assist the economy of the United States. And without them, I think 30% of the small business, it will be affected globally in 50 states in the United States of America.
Finally, here, if we would ask about what should be expected at this upcoming stage, particularly of more bold orders by President Trump, given the already very, very strong orders he gave during just 3 days in office?
Well, that's well known about President Trump as a person, but actually he came in time while compare the last 4 years of Biden administration. To be honest, what he said is something to be he feel that he proud that he will do all these things. But again, I think the way he was talking about the previous leaders, 4 of them, 3 plus Biden, was not actually fair as a political speech, especially on Monday for the reception. The speech, it was not a political speech, it was something personal, as if he is talking to his own people, the people he feels like because of them is already in power.